information in reference to the life and times of OSchlindler. I think this is a continuation of some of the things that we've already talked about on this show, and so let's do it from that perspective.
Well, as you already stated, my name is Alana McLaughlin. I am currently in 8th grade at John Early Middle. I am very involved in after-school activities, from track to cheerleading and community work, and I am a proud alumna of the Junior National Young Leaders Conference. And basically, what prompted me to want to talk about OSchlindler was the fact that I recently returned home from a camp called VAMPY, which is the summer program for verbally and mathematically precocious youth. And at that camp, you have a selection of classes to take. And so I chose to take a class about Nazi Germany. And a big name in Nazi Germany and in the Holocaust was OSchlindler. And so we watched the famous movie Schindler's List, and we got to take a trip to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. And I really started to learn and search more about OSchlindler, and I realized, wow, he was a really, I can't really say if he was good or not, because it all depends on how you perceive his work, but he was a prominent man, I'll tell you that. And there's so many interesting things that a lot of people don't know, and so that's what really made me grip to this topic and really want to share my information with the world.
And I think this is really a continuation of your interest in the Holocaust and some of the other things in reference to Nazi Germany. We also did one not quite recently on the rise and fall of Adolf Hitler, and you gave us quite a bit of information in reference to that. And so we anticipate, in a real sense, the same kind of information dealing with the life and times of OSchlindler. Let's start off by having you to give us some information over the last few minutes in this segment in terms of identifying this individual autobiographically, simply something about him, his life, and some of his works.
Well, OSchlindler was really solidified in Hollywood as a big name, or as a popular name, from the movie Schindler's List, which won a lot of awards. And basically, a lot of people think they, know the whole story about Schindler from the movie, and though the movie does cover a lot of the work that he did, it doesn't cover all of it. And so basically, without giving too much away for the next segment, I want to say that Schindler, he was a Nazi, and he did hold a concentration camp. But it's not the type of camp that you would think. No, it was a labor camp, actually, excuse me. But it wasn't a bad camp, and I'll get more into that in the next segment. But he did have camps, yes, and he wasn't a part of the Nazi Party, and he wasn't squeaky clean, no, but the work he did save millions, it saved thousands of lives at the time, and those people went on to have children, so in the end, he did save millions of lives.
And so this is a very, very important individual within the Nazi Party itself.
Yes.
But at the same time, he objected in a real sense to some of the things that the Nazis were doing, and in a real sense, so you want to talk about that and some of the other things that might be related to this. And this is really a continuation of what we've done in reference to the rise and fall of Adolf Hitler. And at one time you gave us a review over the Second World War and European dictators. And I think that Hitler and Mussolini and Stalin were all a part of that. And so we anticipate what you have to say in reference to that. And when we come back, we'll get into a discussion in reference to that. But I think that basically you've given us what we are looking for. And we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. God, that's over. Got out of there too fast. Almost Okay, yeah, almost, well, half a minute, 30 seconds too fast.
15 seconds.
15 seconds, is that what it was?
Quarter of a minute.
Quarter of a minute. Okay, Lana, this is the second segment. And so this is still the life and times of OSchlindler. And this is the second segment, and you've got 8 minutes, and it's up to you to carry this thing from now on.
It was up to me.
Well, it's up to you when you came up with the title, you see. And so this is your show, and this is your title, and so this is your information, and et cetera. But if you want to recall some of the things in reference to the visit to Washington, D.C. or whatever, and et cetera, and, anything that you think might be interested in reference to that. And see, this is also being recorded. You see this information here. Yeah, so we need this. We can put this in, cut this out.
Bloopers. Bloopers.
No, not necessarily bloopers. This is additional information that we put. People be curious in terms of how people do things and whatever, and et cetera. So,
we can make this into a separate video.
That's what I'm saying. And so we've got 8 minutes and 10 seconds. Okay, now see, okay, very good.
Let's take 10 seconds.
Thank you and welcome back to the second segment of the show for today. We're talking to Alana McLaughlin, and she's giving us some information in reference to the life and times of OSchlindler. And of course, Alana, let's pick up where we left off during the first segment, and to have you to continue dealing with this information in reference to OSchlindler and the part that he played in reference to the Second World War as well as to the Holocaust itself.
All right, so in the first segment, I introduced myself. I'm Alana McLaughlin. I talked about my background, education, and a couple programs that I'm involved in and things of the nature. And then I talked about what made me really want to talk about this, and I said, because I went to a camp called the Summer Program for Verbally and Mathematically Precocious Youth, and I took a class on Nazi Germany, and we watched Schindler's List, which is a really famous movie. A lot of people have seen it, you've probably seen it. And after watching the movie, we went to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., and I learned more about Schindler, and when I got home, I started to read about him and read about all the great things that he did, and I realized, a lot of this information a lot of people don't know, and so I decided to make that the topic of the show today. Now, Oskar Schindler was a Nazi. That's a lot of people, debate on it. Some people say, no, he wasn't a Nazi. Some people say, yes, he was bad. He was a Nazi, but he wasn't your stereotypical Nazi. Now, me saying stereotypical Nazi meaning, just attached to Hitler by the hip, praise Hitler, hate the Jews, hate the Slavs and Gypsies, etc. He was not the stereotypical Nazi. What he did was he had labor camps. And that's another thing that a lot of people debate on. Some people say that he didn't, and some people say that he did. He did. What he would do is he would go to different camps, or like smaller camps, not, Auschwitz and stuff like that. He would go to smaller camps. When they were in preparation to send people to Auschwitz and things, and camps like that, he would go and he would scout out the ones who weren't very physically able, ones that would be sent to the